And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that does a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, we want to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways. But in our new Intrepid Merchant series, we're sitting down to talk about the business and industry of games, new releases, events that are happening, people involved with those things. And on our inaugural episode, we've got Cam Bradley here with us from Gamefound, who I'm going to have introduce themselves in just 1 second. But this is replacing our previous backer quest and a couple other interview formats we have and putting them into one spot where we can talk about those things. It is our first episode of this new format. You're able to go share with people that were live over on social media, whether that's Blue Sky, Facebook, anywhere that we are. You should be able to go share that right now. But glad you're watching us live. If you have questions as we're going through, feel free to drop them in the chat. That's one of the reasons we do these live and not pre-recorded, is so we can talk to you and hear your questions also. But with that said, Cam, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and tell us about the RPG party over at Gamefound.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony, and thank you for having me on this first inaugural show too. It's very exciting. So yeah, my name is Cam. I've been at Gamefound for a couple of years, and before that, I clawed on the outside of the industry for many more. So a long time tabletop hobbyist, and being a part of the industry and actually in the space as business has been such a dream, for lack of better words. Like, it's been such an amazing industry to fall into. And so the RPG party is, we'll touch on some of the projects soon because it kind of fits into that. But RPGs was what got me into crowdfunding in the first place. And so when I joined Gamefound, obviously now and back then, a couple of years ago, very, very board game centric. It's like, well, there's such an amazing tool set here. Like, I feel like we could really leverage this for RPGs as well. And so for the last couple of years, I think that's been about 2 years now, I've been trying to think of how can we grow our audience there. And for about a year or so, it was like bashing the head against the door. How are we going to make this work? Like chasing larger projects and such. And my coworker Tadias, who's my partner on the event, was like, well, why don't we do a more grassroots approach and try to help others grow with us instead? And so that was kind of the whole genesis of the RPG party.
Awesome. I'm really excited, and to be transparent, just so everybody knows, because people have heard me be critical of Gamefound and my experience on it over the years. Part of the reason I'm excited to have this conversation is my first encounter with Cam was a meeting in which I basically just said all the things that I've said about Gamefound, and had Cam and Alex, just who's in charge of marketing over there, who I've known for years, be really responsive to that, really own those things, really talk about what's changed in the last couple of years. We talked about how long Cam has been trying to push this initiative forward, because it came about at a time that I was very critical of also too. So none of the critical things I've said in the past were not things that I feel, but I also have always been very clear. I think Gamefound has the best platform for crowdfunding in the system. I think the technology is great. I think the interface is tremendous. I think y'all are constantly always pushing forward and innovating. There's a lot of great things that happen there also. So I am very excited to have this conversation. I just want to make sure anybody who's heard anything critical I've said before knows, those are all coming from a real place. But my real excitement comes from the accountability that you and Alex, and I think the entire team at Gamefound, has had in saying, we've heard that from a lot of creators. Here is what we're intentionally trying to do, not just to make things better for RPGs, but just to build the best platform we can. So I think what we want from any crowdfunding partner we're going to be looking at are working for. So that's really just an accountability and transparency statement. We're not going to dwell on any of those things, but I just want to be really clear at the top. There is no sponsorship that's happening here. There's no money that's changed hands. Gamefound isn't paying me to do this thing. I am really excited about what I've seen Cam and the team at Gamefound doing in the real intentional choices that they've been making in the RPG party process. And so I wanted to make sure, as part of that we're sharing that with everybody. So if you have questions as we're going along, feel free, like I said, to drop them in. But let's step back. So we've talked about it's this big event. This started, like I said, I'm sure years ago as a conversation when you came on, but the announcement for it was made earlier this year. And since then, there's been a lot of things that y'all have done. So walk us through just a little bit, the process for, don't worry about the announcements and stuff, but y'all invited people to submit projects. Y'all reviewed the projects. You looked at a bunch of different ones, invited people into more of an intentional process with Gamefound. tell us a
Mhm.
little bit more about what that submission was like, what the review was like, and kind of some of the things you looked at as you made those choices, and what you were hoping to achieve with.
Yeah, absolutely. So putting together the whole submission form was an adventure. It's something I've never done anything like that before. And one of the learning moments there for sure is, there should definitely be a question about the payment provider accepted countries, which we did not include on the original form. And so, for example, Dreams of No Sleep, which we're going to touch base on a little bit later. Alex, the creator, is not from a country that would usually be accepted, but we're able to make some things work with a friend of his. So things like that worked out in the end, but it was a big learning experience for sure. As far as the whole submission and review process, it was so much fun and a lot of work. I think so. So I was Gamefound's main reviewer, and then that was kind of done in tandem with our partners, Magpie Games, Chaosium, Loot Tavern, and Drive Through RPG. I spent about 16 hours reviewing everything, and like yeah, there's some submissions which are like irrelevant or just okay, like you can tell this is kind of thrown together or it's just not to the same professional degree that we're looking for. And then there's a good handful. Like I think it got down to a short list of around 30 to 40 that were basically all like whoop out loud. And that's 30 to 40 out of I think 217 submissions was the total that we got.
Cool.
So some of the things that we are looking for was not use of like no use of AI art. And if there was any in a submission, if it was clearly mentioned that it was a placeholder of needing art, I don't think any project that used AI art, even a placeholder capacity, ended up being chosen. So that was a big point. Um, Completeness of the idea or the project. So for example, I think there is only one project which felt like it was fully like system complete and ready to go. But like as long as the scope was well outlined, that was important. Um, Uniqueness of what was on offer too. So we'll touch on some of the different like really unique projects later tonight too. And then if it came down to like a really tough choice between two projects, which might have either fit like a similar niche or niche, like which one excelled over the other, because we were trying to like there was going to be so many projects launching at the same time, so we tried to like reduce competition and friction between those projects. So like there's a few that could be like, you could say like they are very art forward or very like design forwards, and or like tarot as a mechanic. There's a few projects we feature that, but trying to make sure that all of the projects that ultimately were selected were individual as possible there too. So that was a good breaking like a tie breaking metric.
Yeah, I love it. It's been really cool to see the breadth of scope and style and system and a lot of other things that are really coming forward in the collection. Anybody who's watching, if you're ever on Twitch, I dropped the link in. If you're watching on YouTube later, I will have uploaded this. But you can go to gamefound.com and search for the RPG Party tag. Also, too, will get you that same information. So yeah, there's a ton of really great projects. We're going to dive into a lot of those, but yeah, you kind of got into this process. You identified the people, you got the list kind of finalized, and I know there were some like ins and outs over the course of the process as far as people like confirming with you and being able to add other people on and identifying and troubleshooting those issues. But people also got support from your team in how to do this. So how did you organize that support? What are kind of the tools and training you equipped folks with as you were going through this?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, one more learning moment for Gamefound before we get into the training
Yeah.
piece was we had a really audacious timeline for the crowdfunding stage, which was ultimately like it was a very foolish arbitrary dates that I'm very glad that we were able to push back. So that was a good learning moment for us for sure. But as far as the training and such, it's a little bit different than than Gamefound's usual method of working with folks. For one, because of it like being a group crowdfunding with everyone launching at the same time, it makes a little bit less control for creators on an individual basis. And then we also had everybody kind of working within a Discord, one to be able to grow community, and then two for our support to be able to help them all in one same place too. Usually for anyone working with us running their own project with their own dates and selections of whenever they're going to do it, it's all done through email and we have a dedicated person. So a little bit of a different vibe there. But the idea was for when anyone has questions, that other people would be able to see those answers too. I'd say with time zones and such, just with Gamefound being a Polish-based company, I'm probably the most active person in that Discord, which is a blessing and curse because I don't have all of the same insider knowledge that our support team does. But I've done what I can, that's for sure. Speaking to, so that's kind of GameFound specific stuff. But I'm going to pull up the list because there's so many folks that were able to actually onboard and really help us out with a whole bunch of workshops and such. Because the idea was like, yeah, we'll provide a platform and what reach we do have in this space, which is small, just because we haven't developed this audience yet. But support and how to use the platform, tips and tricks for things like that. And then to really be able to gain, like, because we have a whole bunch of friends in the industry, although we haven't had a whole lot of friends who've ran projects with us yet, we still know all kinds of amazing folks that were really, really happy to jump in and help us out too. So a full scope of like workshops and seminars ranging from like how to prepare for a campaign, how to run a campaign, what to do after the campaign, thinking about book orders, logistics, manufacturers, did some workshops too. So the full shout out from everybody here is, so had a couple from Make My Games, Long Pack Games, Easy Ship, Nine Realms Agency, Wet Ink, Scripted, Radio James, Snapback Games, and Dragon Mount Press as well. So it was a really fully loaded, awesome across the board spectrum there of some really, really big names to really, really nice indie ones too. So it was a good blend there.
Yeah. I know after I think Brian and Zach just did a workshop also too, and like later that day we had like 12 new people drop into one of the Facebook groups I manage, and I could tell by the names, as a lot of them are in our Discord server, also too, who I knew were doing it. They're like, oh, like them. Zach and Brian must have mentioned the RPG Zines group to smaller creators, and so like it has been really cool to see that type of intentional community, and I think that's such an important and distinctive factor. Like this is something truly that we haven't seen another crowdfunding platform do, even when they're doing things like BackerKit does a great job with Mothership Month and like their gathered events. We're participating in a collab right now, which is a cool basic function to be able to like pair up projects together, or we're doing the Orbital Blues Month next year. Like that's a really cool thing. It's kind of left to the publisher to deal with that. And I think that's fine, and that's a way and a place things are going to happen. And for a product specific focus, that's great. For y'all to be able to sit back and say, hey, we see this need, here's how we're going to form community to help jumpstart this. I think that's such a like a big swing. And from everything I've heard from the people who are involved, like some of them are just like, I still don't feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I know people who have done dozens of projects who every single time are like, I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know that ever fully goes away. And in addition to that, like you're also giving them some support through AdFound, I think it's called, which is y'all's like marketing service. Like people got essentially some kind of credit towards running some ads. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is, how it works, and what kind of support people got?
Yeah, absolutely. So AdFound, as far as I'm aware, is kind of the first of its kind, where the idea behind it is to like leverage the reach of our own performance marketing team, but be able to put that in the hands of creators. So especially when it comes to like indie first timers, it can be a really, really useful tool because I have plans to hopefully eventually run my own little crowdfunding campaign. And if I was to try to do my own marketing, trying to do taxes or logistics, that would be my nightmare. And so a tool like AdFound is basically there to be able to be like, hey, we have the reach and it's like that established audience. You can plug everything in using this tool and it'll get in front of our audience. So AdFound specifically goes all through meta ads and again, uses all of Gamefound specific targeting. All the ads show up as Gamefound ads too. The fee structure for it, I think is pretty awesome as well. So if you're doing pre-launch ads, there's no fee for it whatsoever. If you're doing ads during crowdfunding or afterwards, it's a flat 5%. So compare that to like our performance marketing team's rates 10% of the ad return. And I think an industry standard is around 15%. I don't know what if you can corroborate that or not.
It varies, yeah.
Yeah, it varies. And so basically being able to put like professional marketing capabilities just within like anyone's hands. As far as the credits that we were to do for, or that we put forward for it, it was kind of like a carrot and stick, you could say, of like, hey, if you're able to reach XYZ follower accounts by this certain date, like we'll be able to allot X amount of credits. I think the base was 100. The tricky thing there is, and one thing that a few people have noted and definitely going to be doing if we're able to do an event like this in the future, is having, for lack of a better word, like a class syllabus. Here's all of the things that you need to have in mind and begin covering over the next couple of months to be as prepared as possible. Because there's so much learning, especially for everyone that's doing it first time. We did have a few people that have crowdfunded before, and like speaking from experience, learning a new thing, whatever it may be, always takes at least double the amount of time if you haven't, if you, in compared to having done it before. And so a lot of people weren't able to really like start to take advantage of actual proper like pre-launch kind of things until rough estimate, maybe like a couple of weeks before the actual campaign launch. So like part of that organic growth and such was a little delayed because of all of the work going on behind the scenes on the projects themselves.
Yeah. And it's a lot. Like if you've never run a project before, it's a lot goes into it. There's a lot of things that happen there. It's a you're putting things together into the last minute and then still putting things
Yeah.
together. And so like we are running for one of our projects over on BackerKit right now. We're running Reddit ads for the first time, and we were really lucky. That creator was like, "Oh, they work for Hero Forge as their day job." So they were like, "Oh, let me ask the person who does it. Okay, cool. Here's everything they gave me. Here's the copy I would recommend. Here's the images I would." And so I just had to go figure out the basic technology of it, which is great. And it's easier than running running meta ads, and I love it. But having tools and things like that that are more accessible, that are internal, that you can kind of use the assets you're already developing and push in a really specific way is huge. Normally during this time, we would be touching on a lot of the major things that are happening in the RPG industry right now. But I really do want people to dial in on like I do think there's a very big thing that RPG Party this week is the biggest thing happening in the RPG industry
That's huge.
in a lot of ways, right? Like we could say like Kickstarter strike like is probably on par with that, and we could talk about that, but that seems like a weird thing to put Cam in the middle of. There's a lot of other things, but I do want people to understand like I do think this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing happening this month in RPGs. Regardless of our own projects, regardless of all the other work that people have going on, like this is one of the three largest platform if you consider the partnership with Indiegogo, certainly for crowdfunding generally, but the one specifically for games, really doing a strong outreach to try to launch 20 different RPG creators, some established, but a lot of first timers into a new platform that has very much had underrepresented RPG presence in the past. It is a big deal, and there's some really cool things that I think Gamefound is doing. Again, I totally encourage people to ask questions, be critical, all those different things. I've loved Cam's ability to respond to those, and even if the response is, "Yeah, that's something we should think about for the future," like that's the type of ownership I'm looking for in a partner. And I will just shout out, like I think Jason and Heather over at BackerKit, I think Asher over at Kickstarter. I think we're seeing a really beautiful time where like the desire to support RPGs on crowdfunding has become more pronounced, and the accessibility and desire for the people who are in a position of supporting games or supporting RPGs at the different crowdfunding platforms is at an all-time high. And I think that's something we need to celebrate as a field. And I really appreciate Cam's presence in that space as one of those people too. So thanks again, talking about that. Just so people know, it won't always be a one topic feature. That is how we're starting, because I want to also have a chance to talk about these great projects. Speaking of one that we are going to talk about right off the bat, this episode is brought to you by Ambition, which is live right now on Gamefound. You can go over to the RPG Party and look at or I believe you can go to ttrpg.link/ambition, but I'll drop the link in the chat in just a second and make sure they're down in the description. I was at Gen Con and had somebody left a card behind after they came to our booth, and it was this beautiful card that was talking about Ambition, which is a Taoist tarot game that mixes incredible strategy and tactical and narrative components together. But the card itself was just a little piece of art that just immediately captivated me with the short concept pitch for it. Later on at Gen Con, we had I was sitting down to dinner with a couple folks and had one of them pull out their character sheet from having played Ambition, and we got a chance to talk about what their experience like for play. And that's Alex Teppitz, who is one of the team members now on the project. But Ambition is somebody who we're working closely with on their campaign. Yanni has done an absolutely beautiful job on this. We are going to talk about it in brief, but I do want to be clear. They're paying us money to help them fund this game. But we don't take projects for marketing and support that we aren't deeply excited about. And I've been excited about this game since before I knew what it was. Cam, because you are slightly less biased maybe than I am, tell me a little bit about what your initial impressions were of Ambition, where kind of where it sits in the RPG party, like vibe of things that y'all were looking for, and kind of what makes you a little bit excited about it.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I can remember. I remember the exact moment at least. Ambition was, I think, it was within like the first 40 projects that I reviewed, and it was the first of multiple where I like exclaimed out loud, like just seeing. I think it was the Witch spread and something else. Like the depth of Yanni's art and also like the depth of game that's behind it is wild. Like the word evocative comes to mind, but like there's so much more to it than that. Like it's a world you see and you just want to be a part of. Also the more nuanced storytelling that he's going with it too, like rather than it's definitely not your average fantasy TTRPG. There's a lot of nuance to it and a whole lot of really, really cool options. So definitely check it out. It's a art style and worlds to fall in love with for sure.
And this is gonna sound dumb, but I always mix up Disco Elysium and Persona, so I'm gonna say Disco Elysium. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but if I'm wrong, just know I meant the other one. In this game, there are moments where like your subconscious is going to talk to your character, right? Like there's this consistent dialogue. There's ways that you can access essentially elevated planes of understanding about things by tapping into your subconscious and having these conversations. It is a limited player scope game because there are specific roles that people take on. There are a number of them. We have a 2 to 4 part stream that's coming up on the channel here with Yanni and our team for it later on this month. I am very excited to finally sit down and play it, but there's highly tactical elements. It's a
Mhm.
lot of really amazing things. And if you like look at like I honestly I thought this was Helvetica Blanc art. Like I didn't think Yanni was doing all this art the first time I saw it. I thought this had to be kit bashed. They're just incredibly talented. I am super excited about it. I'm excited to finally sit down and play it in a couple of weeks. But yeah, there are sponsors for the night. Also, because we couldn't figure out how to turn off the stream to our backer kit thing when we were going live, we're gonna go ahead and shout out. If you like cryptids and radio shows, go check out the Cryptid Show at ttrpg.link/cryptid show over on BackerKit. And go check out Black Flies over on BackerKit also at ttrpg.link/Black Flies. Go check those out because they're getting hit with this stream right now also too. So we're going to give them a little shout out also. Those are 2 projects we've got in collaboration over on BackerKit right now also too. But let's hop back to the RPG party. Yeah, I like I said, Ambition. It was super exciting, and it's also like given me like a lot of inside information. Not that I think you would not tell us, but like it's given us somebody to talk to who's going through the experience of being on the other side of the RPG party, like who got picked, who we didn't know. We've got a lot of people in our server now, like our Discord server, who are a part of it. All of them have had very similar, really pleasant experiences. And it has been like sometimes they ask a question and they're like I don't know, and they'll come and ask us, and we're like, well, here's what we would recommend, but like I've tagged you a few times in the Discord server, like I don't want to put Cam on the spot, but Cam is the only one who might know the answer to this question. So it's been cool, but there's a lot of amazing projects. Check out Ambition. We're gonna walk through about 8 more. If there's one you're excited about that you want to see, toss it in the chat. We'll check it out. Next month, if any of them are still going by the time we do the next episode, we'll probably pick up a couple more
Heck
also
yeah.
too. So
One last thing on Ambition 2, I got to playtest it at Gen Con. Unfortunately, I was quite hungover from meeting Asher the night before, which was a blast. So another shout out to Asher. But oh my goodness, like the interplay of the different not scenes, not mechanics, but the different gameplay methods between like Tribunal.
yeah, the playbook structure, is that what we're
Yes,
talking
playbook
about?
structure. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's super distinctive. I really don't know anything like it. And to give people a sense of like, because they're not on the page yet, we're finishing up some mock-ups, but like they were challenging because this is not a zine and this is not a small book. This is like a Lancer scope project. I'm giving shipping quotes and I'm having to look up how much does it cost to ship 10.5 pounds of books and cards and other stuff if you get the higher level pledge. You can always just do digital. You can always just get the one core book. That's still 4.5 pounds. Like, but we're helping with fulfillment on this also too. It is going to be a lot of games. So if you are into something that has a very simple premise, but then a ton of support on the scale of Lancer, but with I think a slightly smoother rule set, I think Ambition is 100% going to be. You got to go check it out. So Um, cool. Let's. I rearranged these into a random order, so let's see what we're going to next.
Hey, sounds good.
We're gonna go to Punk Fried Chicken. This is one of yours. Let's see. I think I can. If we don't talk, I should be able to play the video, and the audio should come through. If you're watching at home and you want to tell me how loud the video is or is not, we will watch at least a minute of video. If it's a super long video, we're gonna can it after 30 seconds to a minute. But I would love y'all to be able to hear from the creators what they are trying to communicate. So let's check out Punk Fried Chicken.
Please remain still. Your cognitive loop requires redubbing. Accept the update to proceed. Consume. Enjoy. Repeat.
At Punk Fried Chicken, we believe in family. We eat together. We stream together. We think together. We are one.
Alert. Transmission interruption detected. Alert. Transmission interruption detected.
When the corporate civil war burned itself out, the suits were ash and grease. What crawled out of the fryer were the junkos, junk corporations, fast food, fashion, fame, all fighting for what's left of your brainstem and your appetite. You're a cog in the junkos machine, human, cyborg, clone, or bot, with 29 junk professions to pick from, all feeding the beast. But every feed's got a back door, and every boss cracks if you play it right.
Awesome. Exactly 1 minute also too, which is a great length for those are some strong vibes, like right off the bat. Um this one is launched, but it's looks like it's going a little slow. I have started
Mhm.
seeing some ads for these pick up over on meta platforms for me also. So the word is just starting to trickle out. I started to see them earlier today. This is one of your picks. So tell me a little bit, Cam, about kind of what you were excited about for Punk Fried Chicken. What are you looking forward to from this project?
Yeah, I think a few different points. One is standing out within the genre, like cyberpunk, like it's both kind of niche, but also like extremely popular. And so to be able to do something unique within that space with a whole bunch of creativity, also backed up by how freaking striking and vivid all of the art is, just like immediately caught my eye too. And one thing that really stoked to have a little bit of representation here as well that I don't think is mentioned in the campaign is it is one of the only like OSR or Borg inspired games too.
Okay.
So I don't think he calls that out on the page, but like with that little bit of info, you kind of see it in some of the page spreads. It's Borg adjacent for sure, and so that's the D20 system that they used as inspiration for it too. The kind of genesis was like had the art, had the idea of the setting and everything, but wasn't sure on the system, and then Borgs came along, and that's where it came from. But something about ever since watching Delicious in Dungeon, just like food incorporated into media and games has just like been in the back of my mind. And like the fast food cyberpunk was just like such a fun mix. Again, counterpoint with the really really cool like vivid art style that's with it too. Yeah, so this one I think definitely deserves more attention than it has currently, and part of the reason why I wanted to shout it out here for sure.
Yeah, I love the vibes of everything. That video just kills at the beginning also too. Like the mixed media into the art of everything feels very cyberpunk, hitting the dystopian vibes. Like the great thing about fat like, and this is like even like Demolition Man, right? Like the reason we talk about the Taco Bell wars to this day, yeah, the fast food wars to this day, like is like that's something that we can already like wrap our brains around. It makes cyberpunk very accessible to have like modern touchstones thrown in. But that's awesome to hear as far as systematically that it'll be really familiar to people also too who are
Mhm.
who know the system already. Dean Kane called out Dean G Kane called out the video and said also maybe some subtle Chew comic nods, which I think is another really great touchstone to pull from.
Ooh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think people who are into Chew would love this. If I was this creator, I would flag out Pete Petrushka and see if you could get a pull quote for your page.
One
Also,
hundred
too.
percent. Yeah. I'll talk to him about that actually. That's a great call. Awesome shout out there, Dean.
Yeah, because it's not one that would have leapt to mind, but I do think like just with that fast food vibes, it's really cool. This is also again really great. Like the visual hierarchy is really strong. We've got that mix of things that are really easy to read, the things you're kind of working a little bit more for. All of that is like absolutely tremendous and a huge part of the design like genre that we're playing in. But like, yeah, this looks great. And I would highly encourage folks to go check it out. It's Punk Fried Chicken. Yeah, I think for me, like there is a lot of visual. Like I always try to go like after three scrolls, like not the stuff at the top. The video I
Mhm.
think is great. I actually really love GameFound's like top of the like top segment. Specifically the tags function of GameFound has been one of my favorite things about it historically. Like you can look at a game and very quickly tell, hey, what is this into? What is it touching on? What are the things that if I like, I will like these things.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think this top image is really good, but I'm a big fan of the long hero image, like this bigger one. I would have probably pushed that to the top,
Mhm.
and moved the other one onto it. Even though I really like a strong, this is what this is. I just want flavor first, right? And I think there's no shortage of flavor in this, pun intended.
I was gonna call
Um,
it out if you didn't.
so, but other than that, I think the structure is really good. A little bit more of a how to play or getting an actual play done, I think would be helpful.
Mhm.
There's a couple other things I would add to it, but like this is doing a really good job of showing really strong visuals. And the other thing I would love on this is a mock-up. Like
Yeah.
is just what is this book gonna look like? It's usually what I try to make that the first or second image I show people above outside of the preview stuff, right? Is like I want people to get a sense of what is this game. They do a good job of describing it, but I'm a big show don't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say preview is a little bit text heavy, but just how strong like the visual assets are, like just make it work.
Yeah.
Definitely agree that that was one of the things that we talked about in a fair amount of like kind of preview construction seminars, but also just kind of casual chats too. Is like you want to have the most engaging things near the top, and then some things that might be really important to you but aren't going to be as important to backers have that down near the bottom where it's only the most interested people are going to scroll down and continue to read it.
Let's talk about next one of my picks. The game
Yeah.
I was asked about more than any other game before it launched was You Will Die in This Place, which is a nihilistic survival horror dungeon crawl RPG about exile, decay, and the inevitability of death. This key image right now, the person standing in the middle of all the guts and everything else and ribs of this
Hmm. Hmm.
giant beast is I think one of my favorite images in the entire thing. This game is a depressing dungeon crawl. Like there's no question about it. I would play this game. I would be
Hmm.
stoked to play this game. I would have to find the other people I want to play this game with. As somebody who on stream is known to find a bit and commit to it, I think the tone of this is very different, and I think you can still have those moments of levity because of that.
Hmm.
But I think you've got to learn how to like vacillate back in between, and it's finding the table that knows how to do that together. But yeah, it's an experimental survival horror tabletop RPG about coming to terms with the inevitability of death and failure, set in the crumbling, vaulted kingdoms and endless abyssal labyrinth beyond. Players take on the role of exiles struggling to survive. The goal is not to save the world or vanquish some great evil, but instead to find some kind of purpose, meaning, or peace of mind within an often cruel and uncaring universe. So like, I mean, that is like OSR games are known for that vibe, right? OSR games are known for like, you're not a big hero, you're not going to change the world, you're not. And there are a lot of people who don't like that. This takes that and pushes it even further to like, the only thing you will accomplish is your own personal mental sense of contentment. And that does not even mean that the situation is going to be good. It just means
Yeah.
that you're going to learn how to survive in it. So, Cam, why this game? Tell us a little bit about what stood out to you initially, or what you love about it. Tell us a little bit about what made this a good fit for the RPG party, or just what stands out to you.
Yeah, so there's a few projects that I kind of bundled together as like really unique offerings, and this is definitely one of those. Like the dark kind of OSR style dungeon crawl, like that's really really interesting, and especially backed up by how like vivid and like outstanding the art is. Like kind of gives Dark Souls kind of like a little Kingdom Death vibe, but it's also very much its own thing. It's freaking sweet, but also the meta isn't quite the right word for it, but like the narrative that's being created from the creators like notes from someone else, like it's like putting together the game from someone else's notes, like that's part of the narrative of how this is all played.
That's cool.
Which is just such a unique take. And then also like some of how they did the offering of the game too, like they had I think it might be sold out now, but a You Will Die in This tape cassette, which was part of it, and then also a specific like shoebox tier too, which was a lot of fun as well. So like a really really cool concept wrapped up in an interesting package. And then just like, so talking about art again too, like very few projects in the submissions have a lot of art because art's extremely expensive, and extremely expensive for really good reasons. But this is one of the ones that already had like a really strong visual showcase, and that was kind of an immediate like, okay, this like has my interest. And then you read the pitch about what the game is, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So that was a standout for sure.
Yeah. I love this line. What is posted on top of the shiny background art was my best attempt to translate the essence of this game into marketing.
Yes.
Something that makes it more accessible, more understandable. It was an attempt to make you go, oh, it's something a bit like that other thing that's popular right now, or oh, it's like this thing I like, and yet it probably isn't. Not really. You like the honestness. Like I mean, the best like people. Like, we talk to people about marketing all the time. Like we do marketing. Marketing, contrary to what people think, marketing should be fun, and above all, it has to be earnest. Like selling a lie doesn't help you, or if it helps you, it helps you in the short term. But I would even say then most of us are pretty attuned to just, hey, this is, I don't care. Like I don't care about this thing. I'm not interested in what it's selling. This is not an honest pitch. A lot of us have become really attuned to that in just the bombardment of everything. So like somebody just being like, I really don't know how to sell you this thing, and so I've done the best job that I can. Like is very endearing, and they're doing show don't tell. Like they've got the art. They've got a quick start of the rules up for you to look at. And it is this mix of like, even in the compilation of the page, like it's a mix of very basic, hey, I put a couple images on top of each other because that's the layout I can do, mixed with just like bleeding gorgeous art. Is tremendous, right? Like it's yeah, I mean, like again, this I've been watching this project since before I knew it was part of RPG Party, because people were just kept on going like, hey, would you play this? And again, the answer is yes, but I would want to find the right group. I don't even know that I would play it on stream, because I think I would want to get real enough with this game. Now that I think it's totally streamable, but like I think I would want to get real enough with this game that I wouldn't want it to be necessarily played in a public space, because I think you're going to make adjustments for that if you do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's tremendous, and it's really just cool to see what people are thinking about it, how they've been breaking it down. They've got a Substack you can go check out. There's just a lot of good things, but yeah, the tape itself, like I said, I think it's like you said, I think it's sold out. But just this quick adaptation, I think, also does a really good job of showing that they know how to put a physical item together, even if it's in this very simple but like tremendously endearing way, right? Like, I think it shows a lot of strength of the creator. Also too, we didn't look at tiers on Punk Fried Chicken, but I do want to scroll down, because I think pricing strategy, like people will ask me like, oh, like, hey, your games tend to do really well, but you don't seem super stressed when you crowdfund. Well, that's because we charge what you should charge when you're doing things, because we don't want to imperil our ability to fulfill a game, and we like paying people. And so like getting people to understand like pricing, I think, is such a huge aspect. And games that do well tend to price well, in my experience. One of the things I love about Gamefound, that I loved when I used it, it's a great tool, is the fact that I can feature the pledge level I want at the top. The thing that I want you to get the best version of the game, I can pin that to the top, so it's not like you're going to go bash 4 cheaper things before you get to the thing I really want you to do. And for them, it's the core book. It's £45. But they've also got a support tier, which I love. I always think it's good. I think considering replacing support tier with community copy tier is always a really good thing to look at, like putting up on your itch free copies, or making free copies available after the campaign, people who can't afford them. I always think that's a good thing to do at a low level also too, if you don't want to just do a support level. They've got a premium version, and this is my favorite one. You will get a shoebox at this tier, £200, with all these extra elements that they've pulled together for you in a shoebox that they're going to send to you. And it honestly, it just hits the theme so well, right? Like, it's like, we're not going to do a wooden box. We're not going to do here's a shoebox. And yeah, I think it's great. They've got some STL miniatures on there also too. Like, it's a very simple, like, hey, there's a regular version, a premium version, a digital version, two sets of add-ons that are one is already sold out and was already at a set level, and the other one is digital, which means it's going to be easy to manage and fulfillment also too. Really sharp. Really love this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it was one of the things that we talked about a fair bit is like complexity of what you have on offer. Like you want to have some options because if people want to spend money, it's good for them to be able to do so. But then also being mindful of like scope creep in regards to how many pledges, how many add-ons, and overwhelming people with such too. So yeah, I think this is like a great example for like this kind of scope and scale of campaign.
Yeah. All right, let's keep on cruising. Strangers on the Net.
Yes.
I started getting ads last week. Honestly, Richard Ruane, who runs Artwork Studios, but is also one of the owners here at Plus One, runs all of our logistics and fulfillment stuff. We have been talking about how to do good 90s RPGs for a little while, specifically in the like DBS like board, email servers, like all the different ways we used to have to hack the internet to just make it function in the base way that we wanted to. It's got a video, so let's pop that on and check it out. We'll give it a minute and then we'll chat about it a little. All right, that's a minute. There's 34 more seconds of video if you want to go check it out. But I'm immediately loving the vibes. Like I'm immediately like I'm into this. I love Discord has Ghost in it. Like not only in addition to being award winning, like really built an amazing mold for doing Discord based games. And it's been really cool to start seeing more and more people build on the structure of where most of us spend a lot of our time, both professionally and socially, to start to build more games that match that sense of thing. So this was, I think, one of my picks, but I really just picked it because I'm like, I like this theme. I'm into it. I wanna know more about it. So Cam, actually, I don't know anything about this game. Tell me a little bit about what you know about it.
Yeah. So this one also kind of fits the same like pocket, shall we say, or buckets as You Will Die in This Place, of being like a really unique offering because physical pledges and such, the book is going to be a actual physical print, but the game is meant to be played online too. And so it sounds like one, like a very like intimate experience too. I don't if you picked up on the voice, that's actually the creator that narrates the trailer too. And like it's a very intimate trailer.
More creators should do that. Like more creators should just record their audio of their stuff. I do voiceover for Kickstarter videos a lot of the time because creators don't want to, which is fine. But my voice is not the voice of the creator.
Yeah. So how I picture like the pitch for this game is very much like the nostalgia is huge, but then kind of like finding yourself in a much more like open, intimate kind of RPG than you might think, just given the like how much nostalgia is on the cover. If I remember correctly, and Allison, if you're around, please correct me if I'm wrong. But the genesis of this game, again, if I'm right on this, was made during COVID. Was actually done as like a stage play, which then turned into a game that they would invite people in to play during COVID, especially during like all of the isolation that was going on. And yeah, the creator actually also met their wife through playing the game too. So like it's such a cool story. And then like the nostalgia is huge. I've got to hop on a call with them and kind of see some more of the assets behind the scenes. And I was not a teenager in the 90s. I was a little bit younger, but like all of these things just resonate like so hard with getting off school, chatting with the crush on MSN. You have no idea what you're going to say to them because you can't share your actual feelings because you're a dummy. But it's just like, yeah, the nostalgia is just immaculate, for lack of better words.
I love it. Quinn Silver Art says, I feel like playing this game will heal teenage trauma, and for that reason, I'm a little bit scared of it.
Yes, Squid.
Yeah, I think that's wildly spot on. I also
Mhm.
I have thought about doing these before. This looks like a cassette tape. I want people to know it's not. If you look close, it is a USB stick. Which
Mhm.
I have looked at buying this exact customizable USB drive before. I love it, and I love it as an artifact for a primarily digital game. Especially with, like, again, I also know, like, it's hard to do actual plays of text-based games, right? Like, I would
Mhm.
love to see on this, like, a short video of, like, people reading forth in that divine. I think they hit it in the video really well. I think that video is incredibly well produced. But honestly, like, just getting two people in voice chat and narrating what you're chatting back to each other and doing, like, small samples of what play actually looks like, I think would be a really, really strong, like, way to go. I always love seeing, like, they've got resources about sex and gender expression from the era, which it's weird to think about my junior and senior year of high school is an era, but cool. Uh, and all the tools for setting up a Discord server to do this, which I think is really helpful. Again, like, looking down at the pledge levels, and again, here's some things I want to call out really strongly. Like, they've got this debomb.com, which includes, like, custom pogs and all this other stuff, at $80. Looking at the amount of stuff in there, like, I would say that's a great deal. That looks like a lot of things for not a lot of money. And knowing how much some of those things specifically cost, that $80 is probably a good grab. But I also love that they are charging a reasonable amount for the PDF for this, especially for a digital game. Like, people have a tendency to do throwaway cost on their PDF. $20 for the type of content that we're talking about, for the additional tools that we're talking about, for a primarily digital experience. $20 is the game. It is a totally reasonable PDF price also too, and it's a great way to distribute your game. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and then essentially the physical just being like, hey, here's the cost to print it out and ship it to people also too. Oh,
Mhm.
hold
I
on.
think, like,
Somebody told
oh,
me
yeah.
sound is not working for that. All right. We don't know what's happened, but we're back. We said amazing things that we're gonna now try to recall what they were.
You're talking
So-
about the
so-
pledge to use a stranger on the net.
yeah, but it sounds like
and-
we went out around the time I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about. I would love to see, and even if it was just two people at Discord recording their audio, little snippets of play that is just the creator and a friend doing a scene together, right? Like, seeing the mechanics. Doesn't need to be as produced as the amazing video at the top. Just
Mhm.
wanting to see that. And then I also talked about the fact that this is an amazing USB stick cassette. And then I think I mentioned that I love the fact that there's sex and gender expression of the era, and the fact that it's weird to have my junior and senior year of high school referred to as an era. Then we start talking
such as aging.
about pledge levels, yeah, and we'll go. I'll have Quinn go clip these together later, but yeah, great premium pledge level, a lot of inclusions. It's a ridiculous price, and then I talked about the fact that this is an appropriately priced PDF. A lot of people undercharge for PDFs, but especially in a digital experience, the PDF is the game. You've got to charge a reasonable cost for the game, and especially when you're mediating it for digital, like, that's something you really gotta consider, is
Mhm.
charging the right amount for your PDF, and most people are undercharging.
Yeah, one thing I think across the board, just in almost any creative space, I used to work in book publishing, and
Holy
like,
shit! Hold on, it just dropped out.
oh no,
No, wait, no, we did. No, we're good.
we're okay, we're okay.
Never mind. Other overlay thing was just me clicking the wrong overlay because I wasn't paying close enough attention. That's for a stream we did last week. Go check it out on the YouTube channel. What were
But,
you saying, Cam?
pricing of things like this. So like digital, physical, I think like when, especially at like a more indie level, when people have made something, it's like almost going with the theme of this, like of this project specifically. you're putting it out for people to see, and it's very much like passing that note to your childhood crush, like, do you like me? Yes, no. Will you pay this price for this?
Will you do it?
And yeah, will you do it? And so I think like it's really easy to undervalue all of like the time, efforts, and like work that you've made and stuff. So yeah, I fully agree on like pricing appropriately. It was one of the things that I don't know if we had like a specific workshop for. It was touched on in multiple points, but I tried to do one-on-ones with as many people as possible. I think I was able to get everybody, and like pricing structure for pledges and like availability of what's on offer was a big part of that.
Yeah, and it's a huge part of successful games. So love the team on this, love showing the team, they've done it in the style of things. I think this is a really strong project. They're also doing a really good job of actually showing the things you're going to get, which this is the first project we've seen.
Yeah.
Really solid mock-ups. The vibes on this are strong. The style of play totally unique. Like I said, a couple more examples of play so I get a little bit more sense of it is all I would be looking for. But this is a really solid project that I think if I was going to reach out to somebody for a pull quote for this, for an endorsement, or maybe to retweet it, I would reach out to Will Yobst, and I would reach out to Adam Voss of World Champ Game Co. Because they did Discord. This Discord has ghosts in it, so they understand this type of play. But I also think this is a thing they would vibe with. I think this is a type of play they would really get into for similar reasons. And so if you tag them, say, hey, Tony said he thinks you'd like this game. Do it publicly on social media. Don't get in their DMs. I do not give you permission for that. But they'd be great people to reach out to get feedback or an endorsement from on this game. I think would really vibe with it. So let's keep on kicking. Do you like me? Yes, no, really is the creator's move, 100%. I remember you got excited when I told you I picked this one, and it is the one that has had the most ads run at me over the last 3 weeks. And so this is Lies by Omission, a tabletop RPG inspired by Italian Gothic horror. Tell me a little bit about Lies by Omission and kind of what spoke to you about it.
Yeah, so this project is one of the only ones, or there's a small handful, but it's one of the only ones by someone who's like made some crowdfunding projects before. And so I think we'll see in comparison to some of the other ones, like just how crisp and well done the pages and like all of their graphical layout. What stood out to me is one, like the whole motif and design of it, and then also like the specificity of the theme. Like it's not horror, it's a specific genre of Italian horror movies. Not necessarily any sort of combat involved, but just like the dread. And then also incorporating tarot. Like I've never gotten to use tarot cards in anything personally. Like they were put on my radar from, is it Kaza Creations with their RPG. And so I've been curious about it ever since I saw them. And yeah, again, like the vibes for this are so strong with all of the horror movie like replicated on all the tarot cards and throughout the book. Is just really, really cool. Also, Nick, the creator, I think one of my favorite things as a little aside about the RPG party is the community that's been kind of rallied around it from all the creators in it. And Nick has been a freaking champ, sharing so many resources from his own past experiences with everybody, which has just been like a treat to have on board.
And I think somebody just tried to share the link to it, and we have a link sharing turned off. So let me grab that real quick. Had I been on my A game, everything would have already been loaded up and in the descriptions, but I'm on my B game. So we're just dropping them in as we go. I just made sure I dropped in Strangers on the Net, but then here is Lies by Omission. So yeah, the whole thing is gorgeous. And I may mispronounce the name, but what is it? Gallo?
I will also mispronounce it, so we'll be there together.
We're gonna all mispronounce it together. If somebody wants to phonetically type it into chat, that's great. I know that the folks over in the Gauntlet who are lieges of horror and some of my favorite folks to collaborate with, they love this genre of horror, like the distinctive nature of it, the pulp realities of it. And it looks like not only has the art themes been hit really, really well on this, but the even like the building of the product that they're looking at, right? Like the desire to have that vintage Dean Dean Kane, the G is silent. That was moderately helpful. Thanks. So thank you for dropping the Italian pronunciation in there. Uh, but yeah, I mean, again, it also hitting these touchstones really strong. Like these are things that are immediately telling you whether this is for you or not. And then a strong endorsement here at the top, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't actually know who Jamie is off the top of my head, but I do know what the Secret Cabal Gaming podcast is, and I have listened to it. So now, like, even though I'm not a regular listener to it, that is helpful. A little bit of they needed a little wider of a background because of the black, like the dark structure of Gamefound, which I appreciate, but means you cannot depend on white to be behind your images. You have to make sure
Mhm.
format them
Mhm.
to have something dark behind it. So you lose the first line in that endorsement. But then this is the first time we've seen this. This is a really strong pitch on what we're funding. Like other people have said what the game is, right? But like
Yeah.
this is breaking it down in a really accessible. And it's moving. And this is something I might steal. I hate putting what the pledges are in the body of it. Like I don't like doing it. We're doing it on a couple projects right now because BackerKit has all of the pledges on a different page, so you don't see them on Kickstarter on desktop. You see them alongside, so I don't feel the
Mhm.
need to. I think Gamefound has the best display of pledge levels and add-ons. The cart function of the site's really strong, but this is a really great way at the top to show don't tell, right? Like to show
Yeah.
people kind of here's what we're doing, and break it down both in the physical as well as like what is the play experience you're getting here. So a core rulebook, player's guide, campaign setting, and then a collector's edition of things also too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
very clear what they're trying to do, why they need the money, what they're raising from. We've got another great endorsement here by Zach from
Goins?
from After Ruckus. That wasn't why I stopped. Sorry, Zach is a friend, so I was just like everybody knows Zach, right?
Mhm.
Zach is great, and just a tremendous resource, but also has a really good eye for projects. Also,
Yeah.
too, somebody who's well known in indie RPG, especially zine spaces. This kind of breakdown of pledge levels is also really strong. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm not interested in it. But like, it's a smart way, especially if you've got a complex set of things, to be clear about what you are getting at each level.
Mhm.
I also will say again, yeah, the prices are bonkers affordable on all this. Like
Right?
this
It's
is
wild.
I'll be honest, I do not recommend this. I do not recommend telling people your retail value is this much and here's how much they're getting it for. It's cool if you can do it, and I'll go back this sheerly on the fact that I'm getting a really good deal, which is not the reason why you want people to back your game. You want them to back it because they're excited about it, and you don't want it to just go on a shelf where it sits, which is why I don't do deep discounts on this. I am also a firm believer that the lowest price you show people is the eternal value they will associate. Which is not meant to be like a crazy dig. Creators can do what they want to do, but these are ridiculously affordable like pledge levels also. And there's a
Mhm.
lot in here. Like there's just a lot going on, but the design and everything is top notch and absolutely amazing, like visuals. Yeah, I think this is really tremendous, right?
Yeah. Even
Uh,
how like the box design opens for the collector's edition too. Like
yeah,
everything about it is just done to the nines. One thing at the top of the page I really like too, and I don't think we've seen any projects that we've covered today that do it, is the list of like if you like XYZ, you're gonna enjoy this product
yeah,
or this game. I find it's just such a good way to like get people invested
yeah.
in like and grounded in like the setting and the offering.
Yeah. I see, and like I said, that top one, the touchstones and that top pledge level I think are tremendous. Um the overwhelming chart of things is like was a lot, and it's all information right below. But I think it also helps communicate you're getting a lot, right?
Yeah.
I love that they've mocked these all up really well, and that they've also been very clear, like these are all digital items. Like we're showing you
Yeah.
what they look like, but you're getting the digitals of these. The whole thing is gorgeous. Like it would be really hard to not go in on just the all in pledge level, or at least the collector's edition on this one, just given those prices. But the other great thing is you can build your own pledge level. Like you can decide the things that you want as you're going through by doing different add-ons for complex projects like this. They've also
Mhm.
got a ton of stretch goals to enhance the already beautiful project on this.
Yeah, super close to the
The
screen
stretch goal
too.
tools um in Gamefound are also pretty distinctive. Like you build them in, they exist. You can do this as achievements in BackerKit also. You cannot do it in Kickstarter. Um but the ability to set them and also set them based on different criteria, like how much
Mhm.
time has passed, how quickly things happen, how many backers you have, how much money, and all of that going into the system is a really
Yeah.
cool thing because it doesn't only prioritize money, it can prioritize engagement and other things like that within the entire.
Yeah, I fully agree. I like the, and also too, they can be public or not as well. It can be something that's hidden from the public as a surprise, or based on, it could be something you're really excited about, but need some specific criteria to be able to go for and make happen too.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, this project has just been absolutely gorgeous the whole way through. And so like it's really cool to just see all the different things they're pulling together. And then like using tarot again, like it's really interesting to see how much tarot like I have a friend who is like, I feel like I'm out of touch with what's hot in story games right now. What isn't? And I was like, it's tarot. It's tarot cards. They're like, well, that's not a system. And I'm like, right, that's what everybody's doing right now, and it's not a system, right? Like most of the games using it are taking a something from the traditional structure of tarot and building on it. So it is something that we are seeing that as a major mechanical impulse right now within narrative games, and I think that's
Mhm.
really interesting. But also Italy is where a lot of like there I understand that there's a lot of people who want it to be super French, not French, but like Italy has numerous iterations of tarot tied to different cities in Italy from different points of history and was one of the major regions that it was generated out of also. It's a really cool pull from this. I would love to show all these videos, but I want us to get through a few more of these. But I am very excited about this project. I think people need to go check it out. I want to dive into it a little bit more. Uh, the tensions that play in a lot of this type of horror and like how forces are fighting for control is a huge part of it. Like, but yeah, go check out the page when you get a chance. Also, any final thoughts on this one?
No, that's good for me. Yeah, just echoing all of those sentiments for sure.
This one I've been super excited about since the first time I saw it. You pumped your hands in the air when I told you I was going to bring it up. And so let's talk about Sewer Sanctuary.
Yeah, yeah. Reason that, so the ones that I specifically voiced are most of the ones that haven't funded yet, just to try to give them a little bit of a bump too. But there's so many amazing ones that I would love to talk about, and so Sewer Sanctuary is definitely one of those.
Yeah. There are people right now who are trying to pull vibes off of Ghibli and Zelda and a lot of other folks who are doing it in a bad way. Sewer Sanctuary is doing it in an excellent way by saying we've done it and we don't need to make that claim because people will play it and it will resonate with them as somebody who's a big fan of puzzle dungeons but is not good at writing them. I really love seeing this kind of stuff come up. I also know that Direct Sun, who did Aberrant Reflections and there's a lot of really great puzzle dungeons, is about to host a puzzle dungeon jam. I don't know if it's public knowledge, but I'm breaking the embargo and telling everybody they're about to run a puzzle dungeon jam. But a part of that is they're going to be doing a workshop on how to create good puzzles for dungeons, for GMs as well as designers. I'm really excited about seeing that come together because they do some of the best work. But it is one of the things that attracted me to this. Let's check out their video real quick. I could show that video to tons of people and they would think it was going to flash up a video, right? Like the scoring on it, the simple animation, right? Like all those different pieces that are pulling together. They've hit the vibe so well that they don't have to say the thing. Like, because anytime you say it's a Zelda like, then people immediately go, well, like, how is it like Zelda? Here's how I think it's not like. None of which is helpful. I mean, it's good conversation to have, but like the big thing is hitting the vibes just so immaculately that it's undeniable to the people playing it. A way better choice than saying it's like XYZ. Laura has hopped into the server. I have told them how excited I am about this project. I'm hoping we get it on stream sometime soon and get a chance to play it.
Heck yes.
But tell us a little bit about, like I said, you fist pumped on this one. It's funded, so it wasn't on your list. It was on my list. But what gets you excited about this?
I think to paraphrase what you said, like the immaculate vibes. Like I can't remember what I saw first, her artwork, and then the combination of like how fantastic the layout goes in play with that artwork, and just like the presentation, like the black paper, and how it's meant to be like a one-shot kind of thing, maybe a couple of nights, but it's its own system with its own mechanics in it. Like it's not like a one-shot for an existing system. So that combined with the immaculate vibes, and like I'm kind of an odd duck for growing up. Like I've always enjoyed Legend of Zelda, but I've played through only part of Wind Waker and basically nothing else.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the heck of it from a distance because it's just so like the vibes of Legend of Zelda are just so cool.
Yeah.
And like I'm really looking forward to playing this through as like a little tabletop version thereof, and also being able to play through the music mechanics, which like I don't know if it's just like an issue I haven't seen in games, but I hadn't seen any like music mechanics in games before. So really excited to dive into that.
Yeah, we'll see things like jukebox that have like musical structures to them and that are jukebox musical RPGs, but like the ones where they're actually taking it and saying, oh, like here we're gonna add in a little mechanic that has music in it. I'm gonna do a quick scroll because I can't get it all on here, but like I also want to point out it was in the video. I want to point out something on this. The entire vibe of this top image with the owl and the overall thing, it's very movie poster, right? Like it is doing like prestige advertisement of a major intellectual property for a very simple game, and it's doing it just by executing it well. But the thing I want to point out the most that so many designers fail at, these details on the bottom: 2+ players, standalone adventure, 3 to 4 session playtime, D6 rules light, ready to play. I spend so much time, like we put out 40 games a year plus at +1, right? 24 through Zine Club, which you can check out at rpgzine.club. And then about another 16 to 20 in other ways, right? Direct release, crowdfunding, other things like that. The amount of back covers we write in a year is high. Getting people to just put this simple information somewhere where people can find it in a way that is iconographically recognizable. Like it's just a person symbol next to 2+. It's a clock with 3 to 4 like session playtime, right? It's a decent, like it's very, very good. And the visual design here for a puzzle dungeon and for the type of presentation they're doing, that not only as not like I have an experienced eye and I'm looking at it and I'm going, this person knows how to communicate information on a page. Yes. I can't wait to see what they've put in the dungeon. And I'm just looking at little infographics along the bottom.
Yeah.
It is essential to have that kind of information communication when you're trying to do a complex dungeon. Like and there's like the old school fun of like it doesn't make sense, they did it bad and we're having to figure out what they're doing. That's not the type of fun you want to create. And so well, we got some comments here. Laura's graphic design is legendary.
Yes.
I've been so hyped for You Will Die in This Place. I haven't fully gone over the other cool games. And then Tundra Fundra, watching this live stream has been an expensive mistake. Lol. That's what we love to hear. That's what we love to hear. Once a month will ruin your wallet. Yeah, but I mean the mix between like these super heavy black pieces, the card structure, the character sheets. Well, another thing we are kind of obsessed with at Plus is RPGs that I can put down in front of my friends who have only ever played, that I can invite Alex over to play, and maybe he won't notice that it's an RPG, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe there's enough stuff on the table that we can think about it like a board game or manipulate. Right. This is just a very complex roll and write, and then tell a little bit of storytelling in between. That's it. Right. And this is hitting that so well. Here's another great little ready to play adventure, a little detail about it, richly illustrated, beginner friendly. And again, the onboarding to this, it's a D6 system. Like I'm always interested when people say D6 system or mechanically light, like what exactly does that mean? But like this is such a good like articulation of things that look like they're going to be really easy to do. Now it is 90 pages. That is a lot of space to explore. And I am very curious, like how much of that's onboarding, how much of that's dungeon, like what is the mix of information there? Because I think
Mhm.
we can oftentimes think about rules light. Um, and the rules can be light, but then we can give people a very complex, like high cognitive load for the GM setup to like get into and explore. So I'm going to be curious what that balance is, and that's not a critique. And if Laura doesn't hit it perfectly the first time, I'm going to be excited about so many other things about this. It's not even going to bother me.
Mhm.
But we've
She's
got
also got some pretty amazing little, I don't know if they're physical, they might just be digital, but like kind of trifold pamphlet material on itch that like, oh, the vibes are also
yeah
immaculate for all those too. The kind of tricky thing with a project like this too is like you can't really show too much gameplay because that's
yeah
obviously one thing that this one's missing because it's the adventure. That's what you're there to play. But yeah, like all of the graphic design is the next level. Someone said like at legendary. It is absolutely
yeah.
legendary.
Uh,
Um,
the fact that you've got, I mean, you can just do digital, but you've got, if you want that table presence, you've got the big maps, you've got
yeah,
clean and item cards, you've got things that help make for players things very, very uh concrete to figure out how they
yes, but
want
now.
to navigate, right? Uh if this would be me getting into nitpick, right? Like
Mhm,
there's nothing on here that I've seen so far that clearly states this is GM'd, other than the fact that I have now come down to a screen with dungeon map. And for a puzzle dungeon, I think it has to be part, unless you're dealing with
mhm,
like envelopes and other stuff, which I haven't seen. But like that's it. I do feel there for me, I think it's hard to critique this because you've heard how excited we are about it. I would love a little bit more narrative higher up, right? This is doing a great job of what most people fail at, which is showing me everything I'm gonna get, walking me through why it's important, getting me excited about just the thing itself, and the mechanical state of play because it's still doing that through the visual design. I want a little bit of the narrative, and I'm not getting to that till way lower down. And I think there's enough of it that it doesn't. This isn't a loss, and I don't know that I would have a better place to put it. This is just a tough decision that creators have to
mhm.
make. This may be the best spot for it, right? Like I could be wrong on that. But I would want narrative typically a little higher up, and I get that about halfway.
Yeah, out of curiosity for you too, when it comes to sharing a narrative, like for a project like this or otherwise, like do you feel that there's kind of a sweet spot of how much narrative to share early on?
Yeah, it's the smallest amount of sentences you need to get somebody excited about the narrative structure of the
Heck yeah.
so Wandering Blades, we were really struggling to figure out for Daniel, and it had to be Daniel's voice, right? For Wandering Blades, like what what is the narrative, like what's the line that's gonna grab them go? Yeah. And lots of times, like it's just for me, it's like two or three sentences of flavor text. It's describing a scene, it's getting people into the narrative of the world. Like it varies game to game. Um uh and I can't, but it is a line that ended up on our hero image, where all, I think it's like where all paths are deadly, and where your legend is carved by a sword, right? Like that ended up being the line we hung on for Wandering Blades. And I'm like cool, that line, like outside the Emperor's palace, beyond the da 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 da, like where every path is dangerous and your legend is carved by a sword, was the elevator pitch we got. It was like, you know what this game is narratively about by the time we're at the end of that complex or two sentences, right? Um, I think it can be very short, but
Mhm.
you want people to know what it sounds like to play and what are the kind of things that they're going to say and are going to come out of their mouth, or what the narrative state of the world is, right? And I think that's actually a huge part, in addition to visuals, what actually compels us on a game. Then immediately want to hit you with a pretty picture about what this thing's going to look like and make you want the actual thing to hold. All right. That's my way of juicing into your brain. But like the answer is always as little as possible.
Yes.
And again, like Laura is killing it on like brevity here, lightness of things, like knows how to leave that empty space, because that's where adventure and desire and other things like come out. But I just want it a little bit higher up, right? Something is wrong in Marfleaf. Crops are fading, the rivers run sour. Great strong opener. Whispers speak of a temple buried beneath the town. Some say it's waking up after centuries of silence. In this atmospheric fantasy adventures, players explore the town of Marleaf, following rumors to lead them deep into its sewers. As they journey through dangerous tunnels and sacred spaces, they uncover hidden clues, piece together a forgotten history, and confront the force that has disturbed it. That's a great, like, I know, like, I'm ready to play, right?
Yeah.
At the end of that. So, like, this image for me, like, I really love that top image, and I shouted out so strongly. This scroll right here into the about section, I would have probably made my top. I probably would have dropped the cards out, and I would have probably let that big sewer image, like that descending sewer image, live.
Oh, the sewer image is so good.
Yeah, and then I would have hit a strong because like it's doubled up here. Right now we've got the gameplay. We've got another kind of strong like statement. I would have put an image. I would have put the product image, right? Like I would have shown, here's all the cool shit you're getting. But I think both of these are good. It feels a little hat on a hat, and I'm scrolling down a lot to get to that. But my philosophy for crowdfunding is, I want you so excited. Here's your chance to buy it, right? And Gamefound will let you structure your page like that. I know, because that's down we go. Like that's how we structured it. It was 1 scroll, 2 scroll. Okay, cool. Here's the pledge levels back, right?
Yeah. And
then there's more down below, because there's the side structure. Also, you can pop around. You can find out about the team. You can find out about everything else. This is me in deep nitpick world, because this is such a great project.
I fully agree.
Like it is so hard to say anything critical about this that I would just, that it's just a dig in. It's not even like that I think needs to be fixed. But I mean, I would love to see this higher up on the page. I would love to see like people being able to pledge faster. Is it still like core pledge on the normal look is like popped out at the top? So if you just want to back right away, you can get that. That's great.
Yeah.
It's a great,
you can do that.
It's a great aspect.
You can
of the
also,
page.
the only thing that is like set in stone is the project story at the very top. So it doesn't need a ton of info, but as little or as much info that you want there. And then everything else is modular.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. I mean, everybody go back this.
And also too, if anyone appreciates like really strong visual design like this as well, check out Turn It Off. It's like the only second other OSR book. The original was a Adventure Jam made for Knave 2nd edition, and extremely strong graphic design too. So check that one out too.
Great versioning here. I love there's a Henriette collector's edition that includes an original oil painting. I will tell people, and again, this is for custom original art. Like I'm going to send this to one of my friends who is an artist, who I know will back at one of these higher levels, because they're going to get cool art from it. Yeah. But like including art, I don't think these are originals. I think these books, and adds an original oil paintings on unprimed paper, framed for author. So they are. Never mind, I was wrong. Like this is ridiculous for amazing original art. Like
Laura's work is unreal. Like she's got 2 separate Instagram accounts, one for her digital medium like this, and then also her fine art. Oh my goodness. They're both so unreal.
And then the heroes, like leveraging things you can do. Like this stuff does expand the scope, but you're not going to do a million of these. And people who want it are going to get it. Adds an additional character to the game, brought to life with your input. It includes an exclusive small print and unique sticker of your character. Like that's cool. And like here's the other thing. Like not everybody's going to want these, but like I do. And it also makes then people go back up to the $64 one and they're like, oh, $64. It's not $145. And when I say dollars, I mean euros. But like they're just all so good. and I know that my friend Kyle is going to probably come over and snag one of these art ones because of course they will.
Yeah, and I
Um,
love how you phrase that too, because like, yeah, it's not for everybody, but the people that do want that stuff are going to be stoked when they see it.
yeah. I think like, and also like talk to your artist. Like when you're if you're a game designer, like if they're working physically, like talk to them about what they do with the prints. One, you might want it, right? And maybe they'll send it to you. Most artists are like, "Oh yeah, I made this art for you. I digitized it so that you had it for the game." But yeah, if you want the original, like it's included and I'll just send it to you, or like it's going to be materials cost, right? Or whatever. So like don't hesitate to ask them, or think about if you want. We're talking about this with Robbie for Hinterlight that we've got going up on Kickstarter next month. Robbie's such a tremendous artist, but there are people who would love the unfinished line art that Robbie scans in to do the final digital work on because it's so gorgeous. And so, like, do we want to create a couple pledge levels to have that? Anyways, these are all things to think about if you're a designer. I'm gonna move this one back a little bit just because I'm excited about it, but we're already at 90 minutes. All right, let's talk about two more projects within one grouping of projects and call it a night. Let's
Sounds
talk
good.
about Helio Sail, which
Yes.
I know Quinn is in the chat, so we can ask Quinn questions whenever we want to. But Quinn's also an active part of our Discord server. We get to see some of the different marketing services, marketing conversations around this, as well as other things. But let's watch the video, see what's going on.
Do you want to be the captain of your very own space vessel, sailing the solar winds and exploring the starry frontier? How about having a little robot friend that you can upgrade and retrofit throughout your adventure? Welcome to Heliosail, a game about forming a crew of misfit space pirates and charting your own path across the stars. Heliosail combines the pulpy adventure and gilded aesthetics of Treasure Planet with the physics magic and space opera of the Mass Effect trilogy. Step into a hopeful solarpunk vision of our solar system, many centuries in the future. Robots with plants inside them, glittering gold-studded Art Nouveau buildings, and solar sailing ships with photosynthetic sails are all ordinary parts of your world now. The game features a structured travel system, combat that keeps the whole crew engaged, and nearly 300 unique abilities. Help us reach for the stars this October 14th and bring a copy of Heliosail to your game table.
Yeah. I was super excited when you threw this one out. It's not funded yet. People should go make that happen right now. Somebody just toss all the rest of the money. But I know you were excited about this one. I know I'm excited about this one. Tell me a little bit more about what some of your thoughts are for it.
Yeah, so this is one of the ones where during like the review process I dug into. It was really, really cool. And then there's just the casual line of in the submission of the game is entirely system complete. You can download the full rule set for free here. It was just kind of a whoa, like that's awesome. Like the project's been Quinn, correct me if I'm wrong, but a passion project for I think 6+ years now. And so like just waiting to get printed in physical form, and I think possibly add some more custom illustrations. The whole solar punk vibe is really, really interesting. Like I think it's easy to put punk on the end of almost anything, but solar punk specifically I find is really, really cool. There's a lot of sci-fi stuff out there, and I think often sci-fi tends to the grim variety, and to have a more hopeful future where yeah, there's still issues and there's still all kinds of what kind of I think there was like Space Barnacles was one that I remember, and then all these kind of fun, zany, nautical but sci-fi kind of things you can face off against. Just sound like so much fun. And then just how well it captures like the blend of sci-fi with old school, like real world nautical sailing is just such a cool motif to run with. Like we saw in the trailer, there are some of the different ships, the character options there, and Art Nouveau is the specific term that Quinn's called out a few times. It's called out in the trailer there as well, of how they blend with the more kind of like almost watercolor illustrations of some of the ships. With if you look through the current version of the free PDF. So yeah, free PDF. You can go download the whole thing and take a look at it now. Kind of interplayed with some like real world open source free usable assets too. Like it works really, really well, and it's such a fun like mashup of concepts.
Yeah, Quinn has been a great member of the community. Has come in and asked a lot of questions. It is really always cool to see somebody just go to campaign with a we're done. Like I want to print this out and send it to everybody. Thanks. Like
Mhm.
it's so rare. Even projects that we have rapid turnaround on where we're like, well, it'll be done before the end of the campaign. We're usually like, okay, but we're not at the start of the campaign. And that's great, but just again, knowing it's done. I also think this brought up a really interesting thing with in the marketing and other stuff, and it's really cool. I wish I could just make. Oh, I guess I can just hold on. I'm always like, how do I make things bigger? Then I'm like, I can just make the actual thing we're reverse. Quinn's images are a mix of the art from the book, but also like because you have a real world copy printed out, like a lot of mixes of it in like natural settings, outdoors, in flower arrangements, next to a little treasure box, other stuff like this.
Yeah,
Um,
it looks so good.
yeah, and so like it's very fun to kind of see like that distinctive difference in here is the thing and I have it and I want to be able to just share it and show it to people. Um it's been really cool to kind of see all that and kind of see the different pieces taking place for them also too. So like I have been really excited to I've not had the time to dive into it yet, but I do know like there has been a lot of work that's already gone into this, and the fact that you know this is going to fulfill I mean basically like once it's funded and once it'll go to print and then start working its way to you.
Mhm.
And I know the digital fulfillment was by Drive Through RPG, and I think they may be just doing. Are you Quinn? You're in chat. Are you doing print on demand through Drive Through RPG for fulfillment also too? If so, let me know because I'll shout out why that's a great choice. Even though I don't support Drive Through RPG as a platform, it is really good at this particular thing, and it's not a reason I wouldn't back someone's game. Offset is a stretch goal. So if it's minimum fulfillment, which is great, good choices all around. Minimum fulfillment goal means, hey, it'll be fulfilled through Drive Through RPG. Great news is low shipping to your region from the closest Drive Through RPG printer. Offset printing means we're going to get slightly better quality of print, but it also means it's going to have to come from somewhere else in the world at that point in time also too. Those are all challenges that everybody has to look at. This is a very very image heavy thing. I've noticed this a lot in these, and I think this is more I will shout this out. Big pictures on the page, like a lot of pictures, that's a board game thing. RPGs, one of their major advantages is you don't have to do it. And even a lot of board games have become much more adept at saying, hey, if we're going to do images, we're going to do 3 things stacked on each other in a slightly longer thing in order to get a little bit more in there.
Mhm.
A lot of people are taking up a lot of space to sell their game. And so when you don't need to change anything, everything is wonderful. Everything's really easily visually to decode. And if I was on my cell phone, it would be just as easy. So like, don't hear this as a change anything. But again, I really want to get 2 pledges within like 1, 2, 3 scrolls, right? And here I've got to go an additional 3 before I'm at that. So I want to go about twice as long as I need to. So figuring out how we get more information above that line so that people can see the other things that you're offering, I do think is really important and something to want to do it. The other thing I want to shout out is Quinn making sure that people know like there's no AI in this, right? Like very clearly on the page. I always just forget that you need to tell people that because why would you? But like the things that they've laid out down below, I also think are really good. I love a good stretch goal image that's a lot of fun, and I do love the treasure map vibes of this also too, and so, like a lot of the breakdowns of character stuff. I think this stuff is all good down below the pledge level stuff. I would just want to tighten it up a little bit more on the top part. If you have people who have done actual plays of this, if you have other media, those are things I would want to see linked in also too. But the fact that I can go look at a digital right now overcomes a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, I know an actual play was something Quinn wanted to do, and I think just with the lead up to launch and everything, they weren't able to have time to do it. But maybe that'll be something for during the late campaign or for during the late pledge or something as well.
I also think like we keep stretch goals going internally. Like we don't commit to anything, but if we're close to a stretch goal when we're funding, we do it. Also, actual like supporting actual plays has become a common stretch goal for us, whether that's internal, whether we're working with many-sided media, whether we are going out and finding 2 or 3 small streamers and maybe they don't charge anything, maybe their fees are very small, whatever it is, like committing to supporting the art form of actual play, like is something that in our projects we're really committed to, and make good stretch goals also too. Because you don't have to wait any longer for it to be done. You can be like, cool, the game's done, we're shipping it out. The actual play happens whenever it happens. So they don't always have to happen before the campaign, and having something when the physical release ships is just as important, because a lot of people will like celebrate funding but not celebrate the ongoing support of the game. So that's something we want to be really mindful of also too. So but Quinn, it's a great project. Hopefully we'll get you funded quickly. I mean, can't control everybody, but I'd like to see it get funded.
Me too.
All right, then the last individual project we're going to look at is Dreams of No Sleep. And this was again, I think one of your picks, Cam, because you had a lot of good ones. So I just picked a couple of ones I was really excited about.
I think there's no bad picks in this bunch, but yeah, lots of good ones between us both for sure. So Dreams of No Sleep, they're the only one I picked to talk about tonight that's funded. Mostly again, just trying to promote the folks that are still working towards funding. But I did want to touch on this one as well. So I actually mentioned Alex, the creator at the beginning. He's from Brazil, and so there's like a little bit of a kerfuffle of, oh crap, like are we actually going to be able to onboard him? And huge shout out to his friend who was able to make it happen, which is awesome. So it's kind of fun how things seem to happen in pairs. There's 2 projects that really stood out to me as like extremely just like art forward. One, Ambition, which you're very familiar with, and then 2 being Dreams of No Sleep. And the whole like pitch of this game and how like vivid and art forward it is just like really struck me. One, like Alex's writing for the pitch of the game is so fun and just like really on point with how the game plays, of like you are awake and you're sleeping, and when you're sleeping you're fighting freaking gods, and just how creative all the character options are and how freaking vivid all of the art that goes along with it is. Like I gave him a little bit of feedback early on about the preview, and I was like these are some things that I would change, but what you've designed is clearly more than a preview. Like it's a piece of art, so you're probably not going to be able to like make these specific kind of changes.
Yeah. I also when we popped it up here was the first time I noticed that like the eyes were like the eyes were coined, like which I know is an integral, like seeing everything together. I'm like, oh, it's an important part of play, but we're signaling something right away on this. Yeah, let's talk about this scroll. And now that I've gotten this back on the right screen again, this is like, I'm really excited about this. It looks gorgeous. This is a very different way of popping into a game. Like this is you they're making an art statement, right? Like at the very top. And I think that's a really valid choice. Like as much as I like narrative at the top, like you're still telling me what it's about. You're still doing a lot of the other things I want. Live, sleep, kill, God, repeat, be bold, be weird, be gay, do crime. Like these are all really strong, and you're being clear. Like these are the things you care about and are passionate about. I think that's a really valid way to start out, especially with what you're doing with this. And even though it is one long image, the way that each one moves down into another thing I'm interested in and is telling me something new. Like every time I scroll, I'm stopping on, got to start somewhere. Again, this very meta, like thinking about the game while designing the game from a creature in the game, hitting those inspirations that are calling out similar beats, scrolling again. I'm seeing physical things that I'm going to get with the game. And then I'm off and I'm right into the pledge level, right? So even though that top level scroll is wrong, that's kind of what I want, right? I might pack more text in there. Fine not to. Because every time you're doing that, it's doing something really strong. Like there's a really intentional choice. I will say my only thing is I'm not sure what game I'm playing, right? Like I'm not sure what the game is about. That's okay. That was just, again, my one critique on that. But the vibes that I'm getting from the game are already telling me a lot about the things that you want me to consider, and I am interested in all of those things. I love the theming of all the pledge levels, the ante, the bet, the call, the raise, the all in, and the wild card, like are all very good. Like theming of everything. The wild card having you go into the book with this art, like immediate, but I also just love the juxtaposition of like this high produced art piece at the top with some scribbly aspects to it into these stretch goals of just being little hand drawn symbols. It's great. Like it's wonderful. Like go ahead.
He's got a quick start out too, so check out the updates and you can read how the game plays a little bit as well. And it goes into the same kind of vibe where like clearly it's a work in progress, but the work in progress also really works in my opinion. It's just a lot of fun. And I think it's the specific like learn to play sections. It's all illustrated, so you get like a really clear idea of how various parts of the game plays, but all with these really fun, quirky illustrations kind of guiding you through it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read a little. So there's a little bit of a narrative, a good like little narrative paragraph. But like in dreams of no sleep, falling asleep is never safe. Each time you drift off, your body is pulled into surreal and perilous dream of God. These divine domains are beautiful, brutal, and ever shifting. Die in a dream, and you're lost. Like there is a good amount of description on the game here. Like this is all information that like I would have made it down to no matter what, right? And I don't know that like if I was designing it, I would have probably put some of this in the top section, right? And maybe even in the scribble section. I don't care. Like those sections would have gotten me, right? And so like there's a level at which it's very clear that not there are people who are not going to like this. I don't think that every game is art. If anybody tells me their game is art, fine. I'm not going to argue with you, but if anybody ever called my games art, I'd be like, I make toys. Like they have art in them. There's prose. Like all of that is artistic stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm making something I want people to play with, right? And I don't think that's not happening here, but I think there are a number of games, ones we publish and that other people publish, where I look at it and I'm like, this is, I think with Sailing of Claus Manor by Mike Martins. I think most things Mike Martins, like I look at and I see the artistic intention very clearly. And there's a level at which you actually need the game to matter less in those situations. And neither one has to be good or bad. You just need one to have primacy in order for that to shift. And like, this is one that strikes me as a very specific, like intentionally artistic piece that I'm going to be really excited to read, like as excited to read through the first time as I am going to be excited to play through the first time.
Yeah, we were talking about so book orders is obviously a very important topic, and like we touched on a couple different options to print books. We had the RPG party had like a full seminar with a panel of 3 folks talking about different means of printing books.
Yeah,
and like using Heliosail as an example, like I think with that art style, POD through drive-through is going to be totally fine for color.
yeah.
If something like as vivid as this or Ambition was to do POD through drive-through, it would suffer. And so I know from especially having already funded, like the creator's in a really good spot to have some really beautiful books printed. So I think that's already all done and dusted. So it's going to be beautiful to flip through from the get-go here.
Yeah. This is also really good. And again, it's just like the mix of design elements here that you're using, because I know you're watching, are so interesting.
Yeah.
And I say that in the best way possible. Like, I don't mean that like, oh, they're interesting. Like, I mean, like, I want to know more about every choice that you're making here. Anyways, this is a really great how gameplay works, like explanation, right? It's very straightforward. It's very easy to understand. I really love the arena aspect of it. Like, I love seeing like the tactility of things come in where you're like, hey, like, can I get my friend who's mostly into board games or tactical games to play this thing? Like, I love seeing that. I also love seeing that there's a couple of projects that have really pulled that in some very strong ways. So like all of this is really, really, really well done and is very, very distinctive. I'm super excited about this one.
Yeah, I was actually on a call with him when he funded, and I think it was, if I remember correctly, I think it was actually Yanni of Ambition. He was the one who bumped him over the funding line, which was really exciting to be all together for.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. If you ever need help with anything, if you ever want to collaborate on something, reach out. There's a lot of interesting things happen here. I would love to pick your brain at some point about it. Maybe have you on for a stream to talk about some of the design choices you made, because I'm super into what you're doing here in a very specific way. So so the last thing we're going to talk about too is that there are two more projects that we're not going to cover because these people are going to be fine. Like we're not. I mean, am I worried about them as people because they're my friends? Sure. Am I worried about them funding on these projects? No, not at all. Let's talk about the Wild Sea. We've got Tigers on the Wire. This will be their next expansion for their award-winning game, the Wild Sea, which we played here on stream a few times. And we've also got Magpie in the mix this time around for their first Gamefound project, which surprisingly has funded, but only just also too. And so we're seeing two very honestly, like one of the largest non-Wizards of the Coast like gaming studios, and then we're seeing MythWorks, right, who does great, but is definitely still in the mid-size range. Funding on this, two great heavy hitters. The great news is that brings a lot more eyes to the project, but we're seeing a very different response on the platform. I don't need you to compare necessarily one to the other, but I'd love to just spend a moment in time being like, these are established creators. These are studios. They know what they're doing. They know how to operate. What has it been like to have them in the mix? Like pros, cons, good, bad, like all that kind of. I mean, you don't need to be like horrible to them, but like what have been some of the distinct things that's what are some of the distinct things that's brought up in the space?
Yeah, let's start with Magpie because the RPG party actually like really got to kick off and get running because of Mark for a big degree. Actually, we met at Gen Con a couple of years ago, and yeah, it was freaking awesome to meet him. To be fully transparent, he caught me so flat-footed, and I was so surprised by some of the questions he asked when we met. So it was a really cool kind of starting off point, and he really liked the idea of the RPG party, and so I was able to, both me and Thaddeus were able to bounce off so many different ideas and get a whole bunch of input on like what this event could be and what it would look like, and also especially early on during the submission stage. I think Magpie was what brought like the most amount of people in to submit projects as well. So like fantastic being able to kind of workshop with Mark about the whole event. Working with them for the project's been really cool too. I'd say I've told him this too. Like a little faux pas in working with them is I spend so much time focused on working with the RPG party in the Discord. So I share so much information there that then getting in touch with Mark, who's not personally in the Discord, is like a second thought. And so usually I'll loop him in like, oh, by the way, last minute, could you please do this? Which isn't the best form or practice, but it has worked out. So yeah, and speaking to the project itself, we're talking about it a little bit too, and might just be the specificity of the offering as far as the funding goes, because I know he was a little low on getting the followers, and then also juggling some projects around internally as well. So
sure.
A few possible things there.
And it's also like, I will be clear, this is not one of their big, like this is for one of their big systems. It's an expansion. It's not it is not a new original thing. Their goal was low. They're funded. Like they're doing, like I said, they're doing fine. But yeah, it's just a 30-page supplement for Urban Shadows, right? So people are either have Urban Shadows, they can add, like smartly, they can add the entire thing on if they do not have it. If you don't have Urban Shadows, it's great. I eventually should get my copies that I pledged 4 years ago, but I always forget to reach out and say I moved like 3 times. But I also will say, like, this is so like if you go through and look, a lot of the feedback I've been like, look, the hero image at the top of the page, it's just a really strong narrative pulse. The colors seem dim to the rest of the light in the shop, and Nora felt the fear in her stomach come back to life as she clenched her jaw to tamp it down. Is my mother here? Are you a demon? Nora found herself silently mouthing her next words before speaking them with tears brimming her eyes. It's just a short narrative beat, right? And then they're immediately breaking up text to image, text to image, text to image, keeping that scroll like pretty tight until they get to the like this hey, here's a picture of the thing, right? And then we're bam, immediately into it. So like this, I mean, this is how they do it. This is how a lot of folks do it, and it is a more, hey, we want to get you all the information as quickly as possible. We want to give you images, but we're not as focused on just big broad images going down the whole page or to the top. And again, I would say, like, I would not look at these pricing. I would not look at these prices if in comparison to your own prices, anyone, right? Magpie is going to print 10,000 of these, regardless of whether this maybe not 10,000 of these, but they're gonna print in the thousands, knowing that they can sell into the future regardless. Like they're gonna do like probably full offset overseas somewhere or a traditional print model. Like it is a different thing, and their unit economics are going to be way cheaper than your unit economics. So like $15 is a great price. It's low. Like for me, an 8.5 by 11 30-page booklet, like we're talking 2025 typically for your small indie creators. So these are great prices. But again, the ability to also just pop on and get the additional Urban Shadow stuff is a great way to
Mhm.
pump it up also. So yeah, good project. And again, I think for them, it's a great way to get introduced to the platform, start using the tools, lend their presence of support, because again, it's going to help draw eyes to things. As opposed to that, we've got again MythWorks, right? So
Mhm.
doing really well, like great numbers. I think highest out of everybody so far, which is
Mhm.
unsurprising. Ray runs a really tight campaign,
Yeah.
and WildSea has a huge following already, so it's a great group of to come over and bring in. But yeah, tell me a little about some of the realities of having MythWorks in.
Yeah, so the Wild Sea was, I think, the first indie TTRPG I actually backed on Kickstarter, and is one of the first times of like really getting into that community aspect of backing a campaign. I remember my girlfriend and wife was out for the weekend, and so I got to just nerd it up by myself and got ran through a demo from Felix himself, which was a freaking hoot. And so it was just like the perfect experience of like what like a really community-based crowdfunding campaign can be like. And so I've gotten to play probably about 2/3 of a campaign of the game since, which was a hoot during COVID. And to be able to meet both Ray and Felix at Gen Con a couple years ago, and now seeing Ray a couple more times since, like absolute treat and highlight to be able to work with them. So obviously not an indie creator by a long shot, but just as you said, the idea there is to lend some more eyes to everybody else. And fantastic to have the opportunity to work together on like a well-scoped project too. That's not like a huge risk or anything too.
Well, and
Um,
that's the other thing I want to call out. Like one of the cool things I think that they are doing that is really smart in this is again, it's a small expansion, right? It's just I can't see the paid size. It is soft bound like probably large zine length, but they have their other stuff on here. They're on a
mhm.
new platform that has a lot of eyes that don't necessarily like people who love Gamefound. Like a lot of them are like, I'm all in on Gamefound. Is it on Gamefound? Like they'll go back stuff other places, but like they're not also necessarily looking at RPGs because it hasn't been a big
Yeah.
part of your audience. So bringing all the bits over here, right, and being like you can catch up on everything. A lot of people on Gamefound are completionists. They're collectors. Like again, it's one of the advantages of the platform. And they are able to go all in on this if they want to, which is why even for a $20 core pledge offering, they're sitting at like almost $24,000 because new discovery by new backers on a new platform is probably, I would bet, buoying a lot of that, as well as people catching up on pre.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, exactly. That was one of the things that we're talking about with all of the like the more indie RPG creators too. Is like, yeah, you might only sell one or two of them, but if you have some options there that do have like a higher price tag, as long as that value is there, like there will be people that come along and will eat that up. And so, just a great example there of as you say, having like the extra content available. And I think like part of it, the draw here too, is just it's such a fun, evocative world. Like I don't think I saw it on this page specifically, but I love their old pitch of like low magic, high weird.
Yeah.
It's just so spot on.
I mean, turning into a swarm of beetles and then putting myself back together are some of the best fun I've ever had before singing a tree shanty and having our ship get destroyed. We have played
Yeah.
with Ray over on
Oh,
stream a number
awesome.
of games also too. So a number of their games, not a number of Wild Sea games. The number would be one of how many Wild Sea games we played with Ray. But love MythWorks, great studio. And again, one of the great things about people coming in, there are over 20 projects to check out. We looked at 8 or 9 of them. There is just so many good things happening like in this, and again, it's a really distinctive way that y'all have set up to really kind of say, hey, we want to engage with more RPG creators. We want to be more present to people. I do know that we have, I believe, one of the creators of Trenchcoat Raccoons in the chat with us tonight also too.
Yes.
It was really great to see A lot of the creators show up and bring that community here. And so like if y'all ever want to reach out about anything else, please feel free to reach out either in our Discord, ttrpg.link/Discord. It's public, it's open to the community, anyone can get in there. It's linked in the descriptions also too. We'll get all these linked and stitched and corrected and re-uploaded since we had 2 segments tonight due to fun stream stuff. But like Cam, this has been really great. I know I won't put you on the spot for like any formal commitments unless you already know and want to, just give us the scoop. What going forward, do y'all already have plans for the next thing you want to do?
I've definitely got thoughts for sure. A couple ideas as far as like how and when the campaigns launch, like some ideas of rather than it being everyone launches on a set time, like everyone launches before a set time. And so it's like a wider range where people can prepare, having like more of a thought out structured syllabus of like, here are all the things that you're going to need to cover and that we're going to help you cover, but you will also need to do your own due diligence on too, kind of thing. Would love to make it into some sort of annual affair too, because speaking frankly, it's been a whole lot of work. I'd say I've been like the face of the event for Gamefounds, but my partner on it, Thaddeus, has done a whole bunch behind the scenes, and there's a whole bunch of people behind the scenes that have been working a whole lot too. But like hands down for me, it has been the most rewarding thing I've gotten to do professionally. So long as the internal team is happy doing it, I would love to be able to do something like this again.
Awesome. Sorry, Yanni just outed themselves on their old Twitch handle. No, I think it's great. I think things like this are best when they're able to build on themselves, expand, and shift and grow. I think we've seen a lot of other crowdfunding platforms really do a bad job of introducing something really great and then really losing the plot on how to guide that thing into the forward. And at a certain point, you have to say, look, we just got to give this over to the community for it to be their thing and not something that we're running constantly, right? And so I think it's always good to be thinking through those things and considering those things. I hope that we see people that, as one of the organizers for whatever that means of Zine Month that happens every February. Our organization is usually just reminding people that it's happening. Zine Month in February. Would love to see people using Gamefound as a resource for that. If you're not in that Discord, I'll reach out to me on Discord and I'll get you that. Or email me at tony@plus1exp.com. But like I like the reason that I originally even went to Discord went to Gamefound was because we were looking to make a change. We weren't happy with the structure, the shape of crowdfunding at that point in time. I think Gamefound has continued to drive innovation, and it's been really great to see the staff that is in place now be really responsive to concerns and critiques and really try to be caring for the creative community. And I think, again, we've seen that shift a lot across all platforms in the last little bit. I think Gamefound was kind of the one that for RPG people, we were just kind of like, we don't know. And when we try to have those conversations, they don't ever go anywhere. And so really thrilled to have you in that spot. And thanks for coming on for what will hopefully be the longest episode of this show ever. We will be back next month. I don't know who my guest will be. I don't know what we'll be talking about because we'll see what's going to happen between now and then. I'm sure there will be some dialogue about PAX and whatever weird stuff people get up to in indie RPGs between now and then in the industry. But we will always sit down to look at 4 to 6 projects. We went a little heavy tonight, but we want people to know what games are coming out directly, what games are coming out on different crowdfunding platforms. If you're a creator out there who wants anything you're doing featured, you can send press releases to Tony@plus1exp.com or just hit me up on Discord in order to get our attention for any of that. If you don't know how to make a press release, go to ttrpg.link/PK workshop, like press kit workshop, and watch the video I made that has a template in it that you can use to generate your own press list. Unless by the time you're done with that video, you can be done with your press release and know, generally speaking, what to do with it. If you're coming to Metatopia or PAX, we'll see you there soon. If you want to support the stream, go to plus1exp.com. Check out what we do at RPG Zine Club. It's new and emerging games every single month from diverse voices and emerging creators that we support them being able to get their game out without having to do crowdfunding at all. Imagine that. There's a lot of great things that we do, but we are here every Wednesday night with a different concept. Next week, we will be back with Now You Zine It, which is when we have 2 of the creators who we've worked with interview each other about their games. So
Nice.
it is a 3-way interview in which we talk about the work they do, how each unique creator approaches what they do, and we look for moments of resonance in very, very different game. We'll have Ethan Yin and Ziggy Fox on next week. Ethan's going to be talking about being interviewed about Chain Link, which is an adventure game we put out a little while ago about people doing a reverse dungeon crawl. You've been chained up at the bottom of the dungeon and you are crawling your way out to escape. There's a lot of great prisoner dilemma stuff in it, a lot of great faction warfare. Really beautiful game by Ethan with art by Tony Tran and layout by Andrew Bowman. And then Ziggy Fox did a solo game that's very Myst or like Riven-like called Rylum, where you are building a weird, mysterious island with a bunch of puzzles and then working through how to solve them. It's a solo RPG. They're going to interview each other, and I'm going to be there with them to talk about that. But we will then be off for a week and back with Procedures and Play, where we sit down with a different creator and talk about how their mechanics drive the narrative of their game forward. And so come back any Wednesday for more exciting content, or check out our actual plays on the weekend. Cam, you get to try to answer a question that I always ask somebody. It only gets asked on the first episode, maybe the second. I don't have a sign-off line for this show yet. Do you got any ideas for how we should end Intrepid Merchants? If you don't, that's okay. But if you do, you have a good one. You got a good. We'll try it no matter what. Chat,
okay, tagline.
Chat, if you've got an idea, you can throw it out also too. But
I think that comes to mind. The first thing that came to mind, at least, is "This stall shall wander on."
We'll give it a try. This has been Intrepid Merchants with Cam Bradley, and this stall will wander on. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you so much.